As we love to do as we begin our services, as we co-create, as we've been co-creating already, the living field that is impacting us already, the field of love and of beauty and intelligence and joy, continue to work with us. Look at the person right next to you and look them up and down. And just say, oh my God, there's more to you than meets the eye. Most of you is invisible. And it is so beautiful, so magnificent, so wildly wonderful. I see you. I see the beauty in you. I see the love in you. I see the power in you. I see the abundance in you. I see the creativity in you. I see the confidence in you. I see God in you. And you have come to set God free, that we may change the world for the better. Let's do this. Let's be this in the here and now, together. And so it is. Touch and agree. High holy hug, high five, handshake, whatever the case may be. Because one of the most intimate things that you can do with another is to pray or to meditate, to sit in the silence. You don't want to have any just, one-night prayer stands. You know what I'm saying? You want to at least know the person's name. Another meaning for name is nature. You want to know their nature, so you enter into that prayer field with that being that you've seen the Christ consciousness in, the life of God in. And so in this intimate moment of prayer and meditation and chanting and embracing, you remember this moment. You remember the person. It won't just go on your belt notch as, yeah, I prayed with her. I prayed with him. Yeah. No. Intimate, meaningful, real. Because we're here to make a difference on the planet. We're here to make a difference in our own life. We're here to take a vibrational stand for the eternal qualities of the Spirit and to allow them to be so active within us that we set them free through our thought, our word, and our action. Thus, as the theme of the month would begin to indicate, as we're becoming more and more enthralled with the Spirit of the living God, some of you had a moment of enthrallment when you looked at the person next to you and saw them almost as if you were seeing them for the very first time. And you could see the love of God there and the peace and the beauty of God. Some of you have those moments of enthrallment when you look up at the stars. It's difficult to see them in LA with the light pollution that we face on a regular basis, but sometimes you can. But you can look at a tree and you can see all the leaves on the tree, and you can hear the scripture that the leaves on the trees are for the healing of the nations. And you are become aware that the inner meaning of that, of course, is that those leaves on the tree are not in competition with each other. They're on the same branch, and that branch is connected to the trunk of that tree, and that trunk is pulling the nutrients from the roots and the soil, and they're all connected. The leaves on the tree being for the healing of the nations, and you can look and be enthralled by the infinite amount of leaves that a particular tree produces in its lifetime, and be enthralled by God's infinite nature. You could go down to the beach and you can see the endless circulation of the earth going around the sun, and the gravity between the earth and the moon producing the waves and the high tide and the low tide and the endless movement, the ceaseless movement of the tides, and be enthralled by the magnificent order and elegance of the universe and the solar system and the galaxy. You can be enthralled in rush hour traffic with the awareness that one mind is driving all of these cars. And you're just hoping and praying that they know that. That they're not rogue, out on their own trying to do it, causing a traffic jam. But that the one mind is controlling it all, and you will come to a great and mighty sign that says, yield. Walk in the light. You can become enthralled all day long by the messages and the meanings from the presence of God, and then you begin to be aware through your involvement in spiritual prayer and meditation and visioning and high and holy fellowship and high conversation and sacred service and the circulation of your gifts and time and talent and substance and study and researching your own soul, you begin to be aware that all of that which you are enthralled about is in you. That the uppermost God and the innermost God is the same God, and that the vast universe and the solar systems and the galaxies and the mind of God that recreated itself and became living biology. The point of evolution that where you're living right now, where that you are living biology with the soulful faculty of being able to think independent of circumstances, you can have a soulful reckoning in prayer and realize that all of this grandness is inside of you. That as within, so without. You can begin to realize that the spaces between the cells, the spaces between the cells is the replica of the spaces between galaxies and solar systems. You can begin to be aware that you're loaded and coded with some unique information in your DNA that is programmed for greatness and beauty and love and harmony, and that you are the master programmer with your moods and attitudes and character that allow for that programming to continue to be up-leveled so that your life begins to reflect and reveal the cosmos in a way that only you can do it. Your inner work is your involvement with that which you are enthralled about. So you begin with, oh my God. Woo-wee. You begin with, oh my God, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, oh my God, it's endless ceasing of the tides. The universe continues to expand when you look at it through the Hubble telescope. There's so much. And then you turn within. Turning within. Pray, you meditate. Sometimes you sing and you chant, you study. So all that was out there, it's here. So now I've got to become involved with this. I've got to move from hypothesis. I got to move from theorize in it, memorizing it, to realizing it. You see, I can't just memorize the Bible. I can't theorize about the nature of God. I've got to realize it. I've got to go in and be so involved in my spiritual practices and my intentionality that all that I've believed and memorized begins to be alive in me. I begin to radiate this presence. And that light that Bashara was singing about in her first song, the light that lights up every man and every woman that comes into the world, the true light that was found in Jesus, the Christ, and found in all the avatars that have walked the planet. We begin to see, oh my God, such luminosity is here. In that deep and abiding stillness. You know what you discover in stillness? You discover ultimately that you have to like yourself when you're by yourself. If you don't like yourself when you're by yourself, then you're going to cause problems with other people because you're going to try to get something from them that only you can give yourself. You see? You've got to like yourself when you're by yourself. So when you go into that deep and abiding stillness, you see all the machinations of the ego as well as moments of inspiration. And when the machinations of the ego begin to bubble up, and it begins to talk about issues and other people, and you know it's lying, because the moment it says someone else is holding the key to your happiness, that's a lie. The moment it says someone else can take away your joy, that's a lie. The moment it says someone else is controlling your destiny, that's a lie. It's the machinations of the ego. And as you're able to embrace the absolute truth of your being in the sacred silence that my life is the life of the infinite, that God is right here and right now, that all of my needs are met, that everything is working together for my good, as you begin to like yourself when you're by yourself, when you begin to know yourself when you're by yourself, as you move into the world, you see a whole different world. You don't see the world of your limited perception being broadcast out there, bouncing back to you, giving you a validation of your limited perception, you begin to see the face of God everywhere. You wake up and say, has life been this beautiful all the time? Where have I been? In the past. Where have I been? Limited perception. Where have I been? Recreating over and over and over again the past experience and dealing with it over and over and over again. When you become involved and start to meditate and pray for real, you start to like yourself when you're by yourself because you see what the presence of God is recreating moment by moment by moment. And then you are a conscious participant in the evolution of your own soul. Therefore, you understand the theme. From enthrallment to involvement to evolvement. That there's an evolution that is occurring from, as we talked about last week, an evolution that is occurring through involution. Involution is the planting of a seed or a planting of an idea. The Spirit of the living God, before there was time, had an idea. That idea is you. The presence of God never does a meaningless act, never makes a do-over or a mistake. So that idea of you held in the mind of God, God's eyes too pure to behold inequity, that idea called you is the magnificent seed idea of an unfolding infinite potential, divine possibilities of such brilliance and magnificence. And that when you become totally involved with the spiritual practices, you're participating in your unfoldment, in your own evolution. It's not accidental. It's on purpose. You wake up saying, I want to be different. I want to evolve. I want to grow. I want to evolve. I want to become more of myself. I know I've got things to deal with in the human condition. I know I've got to get a job. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do that. But behind that ceaseless movement of activity is the compelling movement to grow and unfold. In the midst of looking for divine employment, in the midst of healing the body, in the midst of all the things you're working with, behind that, there's an energy of this presence of God seeking to emerge through you. This is important. This is important. This is important. This is the linchpin of the teaching right here. That the presence of God is everywhere. Yes, infinite. Yes, omnipresent. Yes, conscious of itself. Yes, all-knowing. Yes, the only life that there is. Yes, never born, never dying. Yes, eternal unfoldment. Yes, 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 yes. However, it wants to know itself as you. It already knows itself. But it wants to know itself as you, boo. It wants to know itself as you. I want to know myself as Michael is what it says. I want to know myself as Ricky. I want to know myself as Joanne. I got to know my infinite potential as this divine and perfect seed idea that I recreated after my own image and my own likeness. I don't want it to be just potential. I don't want it to be latent possibility. I want to know myself as you. This is what the Spirit is saying, you see. So we're enthralled with the presence of God. But God is enthralled with what it can become as your life. He wants to sing and dance and love through you, give through you, and share through you, shine through you, radiate through you. And so your involvement is giving permission for the activation of the seed idea, the involution, to evolve and become more and more and more greater versions and iterations of you. So you're not waiting for God to do something for you. God is waiting for you to let God do something through you. You see, let me flow through you. Say yes to me. No, I mean me. I mean, I'm standing in proxy for the Lord. Say yes to the presence. You see. So we have our awe. We're in awe about the presence. Wonder, awe. Involvement, evolvement. And then we begin to discover that potential is always greater than present circumstance. You hear what I just said? Yeah. That your potential is greater than any circumstance you're in. That's why we can say today that the great mystery transcends your history. Okay? It transcends your history, your past. What is the past? Okay. Now we know about a quantum field. We know that quantum is electromagnetic energy. We know that quanta is the burst of light that is moving so fast that you actually think that when you're looking at this particular pole or the person next to you, that's who they are, that they're solid, that's who they are. But in fact, it's a burst of light going very, very rapidly, being held together by our perception. So the reality that we believe in is that quanta is just going really fast, and it's just becoming what we think it should become in this present time. So our past is the quantum field that's being repeated over and over and over again because we believe it to be so. We have a certain perception about it. What is our past? It's a perception about an event that took place. And sometimes our perception about the past in that particular event, our perception was so limited, we only saw that particular event from a certain way. It's become a past. It became a weight. It becomes gravity. We carry it forward. And that quanta keeps on reproducing itself over and over and over again. And we keep living in it until we shift our mind about it, which is called forgiving your past, letting it go, expanding your awareness, letting it go, so that that quanta can now shift itself, and that burst of light going really, really, really fast can now shape-shift itself into another dynamic of the presence of God. That's called the healing or a revelation of truth, the revelation of the presence of God that is always here if you become so involved with it and so involved with looking for, speaking about the absolute truth of your being, so that your perception expands. And now the mystery, which is infinite, in the book it said something like, if you can't improve upon the silence, shut up. So I'm just like, okay. No. The apocryphal teachings of Jesus, the gospel of peace. It says there, betwixt the in-breath and the out-breath lies the great mystery. Betwixt is what it says. We know that means between. The in-breath and the out-breath is the mystery. So in that moment between the in-breath and the out-breath, that moment of stillness, one-pointed silence, is the mystery of creativity and creation, the mystery of infinite good seeking to express itself. That mystery is not mysterious. It's a mystery. You can't quite define it. We can't encapsulate it with our perception. We can't limit it with our point of view. But in that moment between the in-breath and the out-breath, in the moment you think not, and the moment there is perfect stillness, that mystery gets to rise up. The presence of God gets to rise up. And that which has been holding us from our past begins to be dissolved, because when you begin to understand, as I was speaking a little bit about yesterday in Orlando, Florida, Ricky and I were there at the Chi convention. I was explaining a little bit about dimensionality and how from the Newtonian model, two things cannot occupy the same space in the same time. Clash, bump. From the quantum reality, two things can occupy the same space in the same time, but they're in different dimensions. It's called the condensate. So catch this. There is an idea of who you are. Perfect, whole, complete idea. You didn't make it up. It's there. It's vibrating at a higher frequency than the quanta that you have created, your past, the way you look at life, your experience, your focus. You're creating the experience from that. It's vibrating higher than that. So in a moment of alignment, happens in prayer. A moment of alignment happens in meditation. Moment of alignment happens a moment of sincere chant. Moment of alignment, sacred service. A moment of alignment, wonderful study where you have a moment of alignment. that which is dimensionally out of your reach because it's vibrating too fast, suddenly you're at that dimension. And you begin to vibrate at that level. And that which you've been holding on to with your limited perception, your past, is now transcended by the mystery of God in another dimension. Jesus said, in my Father's house are many mansions. The quantum scientist says, in the field of infinite possibility, there are many dimensions. Same thing. Jesus would have said all that stuff. They wouldn't understand what he was saying. They didn't understand what he was saying anyway. He had to do riddles and parables and stories. It's bedtime stories for folks. So listen. The mystery transcends your history. And so moment by moment by moment, you have to become more and more identified with, not denying events, more and more identified with who you are in the mystery that's unfolding. It will change your entire perception of an event. We were stuck in the airport for a while. And I went out to use the restroom, and this woman was suddenly staring at me. She said, "You Michael Beckwith?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh my God." She said, "I was talking to a friend of mine a number of days ago. I was going through cancer and some other health issues, and she said you should fly to LA and be in the field of Agape with Dr. Beckwith. It'll really help you." I couldn't get in for some reason. She said I couldn't make the arrangements. I ordered your book online, and I was a little upset because I'm supposed to be in Terminal E, and I accidentally walked all the way down here to Terminal C. She said, "I was just here being mad at myself for taking this long walk, but then I see there you are." This was not an accident. I was carrying, she was carrying a mistake. Oh man, I gotta miss my plane or whatever. But there he is. I'm supposed to be at his community. I'm ordered his book, and now I'm meeting him. And so we stood there and prayed in the airport. And then as I was leaving her, I'm still trying to get to the restroom, mind you. I went right to realization stage. I didn't do the wind up. I know that God is all there is. I'm in gratitude. I'm in one with God. Therefore, I'm knowing that as I am connected with God, that right where she is. No, I went right to, "You're healed." All is well. I feel it. Gotta go. Hugs. I'm just saying. Mother Nature sometimes has a strong call. But another woman stood up. "You Michael Beckwith? Bob Proctor sent me to your community, and I saw you do the evocation at the Unstoppable, and I just, I saw you praying with that woman. I knew that was you, and I just had to have a conversation." I said, "I'll be right back." Here's the point. Take anyone you want. The lady was just holding on to her past a little. This is a little minor thing. She was holding on. She was berating herself about a mistake she thought she had made. Coming to find out that she was being guided to be in a particular space to get prayer. It wasn't an accident she walked from E to C. She walked from E to C. You see, she walked from the eternal into Christ consciousness for herself. Quanta shifted. It went from mistake, quanta coagulating itself around a mistake, a perception of mistake. "Oh, I'm stupid. Why did I do this?" To, "Oh, quanta changed." It's a miracle. It's wonderful, you see. Mystery transcends your history. So what does this mean? As I was sharing a little bit about yesterday, we talk about our issues a lot. Sometimes we talk about our issues more than we talk about the possibilities. Sometimes your whole day is filled with your particular issue or issues. And maybe a tiny little energy around possibility. You have to shift the percentage. So that you're talking about possibility. You're talking about potential. You're talking about solution. Even if you don't know what it is, you don't have to know what it is. You can just know what the qualities of it are. The qualities is peace. The quality is love. The quality is abundance. The quality is prosperity. The quality is beauty. The quality is order. You can just talk about it. And after a while, as you begin to talk about it, as I was saying, you begin to talk to it. You have a conversation with it. You talk to prosperity. You talk to beauty. You talk to abundance. You talk to it. You begin to talk. You begin to have an inner conversation with it. You start to call it out. You start to walk into places and inwardly saying, I know you're here. Come on out. I know peace is here. Show up. I know joy is here. Come on out. I know the power of God is here. And then after a while, as you're talking about it, just gossip about peace. Just start gossiping about God. Just start gossiping about solutions. Just start just hanging out in that space. Let your posture change. Start standing up on your toes sometime. Let your back go back and just feel it. Just talking about it. I'm going to talk to you about joy today. You know, you start talking about it, start talking to it, and then after a while, you have an insight, you'll start talking from it. It'll be a change that takes place. You go about, to, and then from. Energy will shift. Vibrational match occurs. The mystery of unfoldment. Mystery beginning with a perfect spiritual idea that you are, loaded and coded with it. The vibration of what you're talking about, what you're talking to, what you're talking from becomes a vibrational condition. The dimension of the next stage of your unfoldment, which is at a higher frequency, you begin to vibrate at that level. Lo and behold, that which you can't see, you now see. That which was previously invisible to you because all you were concerned about was the issue and your past. You know your past, you've seen it, you've rehearsed it, you've said it so many times, you've talked about it, you've even embellished it. You went from one thing, I was so bad and terrible, to like, oh, you have no idea. You've embellished it. So it's really coagulated. You even believe that nonsense you're telling yourself. I'm talking about the exaggeration part. Now you're starting to come out of it. Doesn't change the event, but it changes the perception of the event. You know. It's like there was a woman that did walking on the hot coals. She did it great. And she was on the freeway, driving on the freeway, telling her friend about it, about how hot it was, and she got a burn later. She started thinking about, oh my God, that was really hot. Oh my God, what was I doing? She started burning herself. She wasn't even on the hot coals. She shifted the reality and started to burn herself. If you can do that, what else can you do? You know? So here's another point. The lady was sharing, you know, about her being afraid. You know, and this comes up a lot, fear. And, you know, she was a little nervous, and I was breaking it down to her that she had a fear phobia. Fear phobia is being afraid of being afraid. When you are afraid of being afraid, then you do things to stop being afraid. Those are called compulsive behaviors. So when you become afraid of being afraid, you start doing things to not be afraid. You start eating too much. You start becoming busy. You start doing all kinds of stuff so you don't fear the fear. You don't feel the fear. You want to be able to be afraid. There's no big deal being afraid. There's nothing wrong with being afraid. You don't want it to transmute itself into a compulsive behavior. You want to be aware that when you're on the verge of growth, development, and unfoldment, just like in the Truman Show. Remember the Truman Show? Whenever he was about to break free from that limited paradigm of that small town that he was living in, all manner of waves would arise, earthquakes, all kinds of things. Well, the moment you're about to break free into a higher level, the ego will send you fear thoughts. Don't do it. Don't go back to school. Don't do this. Don't try that. You're safe. You're safe. We got you covered. We don't know what's out there. You got to stay here. So as you begin to embrace this divine and perfect spiritual idea that's held within you, and you begin to be compelled into a greater action, not just activity, not just busyness, but greater action, fear will come. What do you do with it? Yeah, take it along with you. You say, come on, fear, let's go. We got something. We're going to... Come on, fear, it's all right. And as you keep taking fear with you, it transmutes itself into excitement. After a while, fear becomes excitement. And then you keep on doing it, fear becomes enthusiasm. It's all the same energy. Everything transmutes itself based on perception. The quantum field, electromagnetic energy, and the quanta, the burst of light that become your perception of what is, shifts. Fear, excitement, enthusiasm, entheos, I'm in God. Everything is working together for my good, even if I can't see it. The mystery of what I can't see is transcending the history of what I'm carrying. I'm no longer carrying the gravity of my history. I'm flying with levity and joy and happiness above the mundanity of human experience. Oh, with God, all things are possible. That's where you begin to live. That's where you begin to hang out. It begins with your involvement. Whether it is here and you are chanting and you're catching the lyric and the music and it's moving through you, whether you're in prayer and meditation, study, high fellowship, eventually you'll be talking about possibility. Then you'll be talking to it. And then you'll be talking from it. And your vibratory frequency will be strong. And your declaration and decree will be powerful because there will be nothing in you that denies what you're saying. So that when you say everything is working together for good in this circumstance, you'll believe it. You don't have to know how. Just say, everything is working together for good in this circumstance. Everything is working for good in my life. All things are working together for good. You'll believe what you're saying. The cells will believe it. The space between the cells will believe it. The chemistry of your body will shift according to that belief. It is done unto you as you believe, vibrationally. Freedom, love, generosity, and peace. Now you want to vibrationally move from the past. And I won't say move to the future, I say move to the possible that's within you. I was reminded of this story that I shared, that when Nelson Mandela was in Robben Island, being abused by the guards and there for 27 years, there was a time in which the young folks in South Africa were moving into more and more violence to end apartheid. And there was a massacre that took place in Soweto. And they arrested all of these young men, and they put them in the same jail, same prison that Nelson Mandela was in. And they were saying, Nelson, listen, there's only 12 guards. There's a whole bunch of us in prison now. We can overtake these guards, we can kill them, and we can get on. And Nelson said, no. If you kill those 12, another 12 will come, more will come, and pretty soon we'll be overrun and we'll be killed. He said, listen, when we become the leadership of this country, we have to bring a different energy. I want you guys to go to the library. I want you to read. I want you to study. And they're like, what? We don't want to go to no library. We don't want to study. We want to kill these guards and get out of here. He says, when we become the leadership of this country, we're going to have to bring wisdom. We're going to have to bring love. We're going to have to bring a different energy. Go to the library so that you can be what you need to be when we become the leadership. So he was speaking to the possibility. He didn't say if. When we become the leadership of this country. It was already in the quantum field. It was already in the field of possibility. It was already vibrating in another dimension. He was raising his vibration to be there with it, you see, when we become. But they had to create the condition for it. Let's go to the library. Let's study. Let's get our stuff together. It's not going to just happen. It's going to happen just according to the conditions that we're creating, you see. And, of course, everyone knows the history, Came out, became the leadership. His vibration was so strong, he didn't have war tribunals. He had forgiveness tribunals. Never been done in the history of the planet. You see, took everything to a whole other level. So you can begin to say to yourself, when and as I'm becoming prosperous. When and as I'm becoming so healthy. When and as I'm revealing the intelligence of the universe. When and as I'm becoming the next great version of who I am and what I am, I will deliver my gifts. I will share, and I'll begin now. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to begin now. Because the seed is already growing. You see, the mystery transcends the history. The mystery is transcending our individual and collective history. Will you go here with me? Yes. Will you be aware right now, right where you're sitting, there is a perfect idea of you emanating and being projected from the mind of the infinite. It's magnificent. It's brilliant. You are a beautiful being. You're so magnificent. You're being called to greatness. There's so much magnificent. That idea is right here. It's occupying the same space with your present condition. It's occupying the same space with your present perception of your past. It's occupying the same space of the circumstances of your life. It's right here, but it's dimensionally vibrating at a different frequency. You're not praying to God to come down. You are praying to be lifted up into the higher frequency, unto the hills. I lift my eyes unto the hills from which cometh my help. I lift my eyes unto higher consciousness. What did the teacher say? As I am lifted up, I draw all unto me. We're lifting ourselves. We don't have to have all the answers intellectually. We have to have the one answer. The presence of God is my life. We're lifted. We're lifted. Will you come? Yes. We're lifted. Will you come with me? Yes. Vibrationally, will you come? Yes. Do you want to come? Yes. It's going to change your life. It's going to shift some things. It's not going to always be easy. It's going to be challenging. But you know what? You're up for the challenge or you wouldn't have taken the incarnation. The challenge is something your soul is creating for you to grow. You up for it? Yes. Are you up for beauty, yes, joy, yes, harmony, yes, elegance, yes, prosperity? Yes. I mean, really. Yes. People say that. They win the lottery. They're broke in 5 years. They weren't ready. Are you up for it? Yes. Vibrationally, we're up for it. I say we are. I say we are. I say we're up for it. We turn within, which simply means we're turning away from the world of confusion, the world of circumstance, the world of situations. Whenever we say turn within, we close the outer eye, but it's not always necessary. It just means we're turning away from the world of circumstance and situation and turning within to the luminous light that we are, to the presence of God that is everywhere. We're turning within to our oneness with the presence, our oneness with the presence, our oneness with the presence. We're turning within. Oh my God. Such gratitude takes over. And we see differently. How great thou art, how infinite divine is thy holy, holy name. We're connected. We're one. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And from this consciousness of oneness, the vibratory frequency is spoken, is called the Word, the Logos. The vibratory frequency of a transcendent idea. I speak the word for each of us, representing the one of us, one God, one power, one presence, one love, that we may be free, that we may soar in the realms of such elegance and brilliance and beauty and abundance, and it becomes so ensouled, embodied, that when the so-called they see us, they see the presence. They see the presence of love and beauty and joy and harmony, sacred service. They see God, active God, not memorized God. Active God, not theorized God. God in action is our life. Inspiration and brilliance and generosity and creativity. Oh, my God. Ah. Take it, Ricky.
Let's move in the right way. My eyes open, your eyes closed. You can't see the world that I behold. Let's move beyond what's right and what's wrong. Go to the center of where we belong and move in the right way. Come on and move in the right way. Hey, move in the right way. Oh, move in the right way. If you're awakened, I am sleeping. Meet me halfway.
to you. This is a powerful spiritual community and a powerful prayer vortex. It's ignited. It's on fire with love. The vibration is high.